Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone, welcome to the viewers and welcome to the participants, and thank you everybody for taking the time to join us for what I believe to be a very important event that we hope will contribute to improving the situation in Bangladesh and sharing awareness with all the people who will be watching us about the situation, about our hopes and aspirations, and where we would like to see Bangladesh in the near future. And I'm hoping that today we will be following a similar format to what we followed in the past, and that is we start with each speaker giving a brief introduction about themselves first, and then speaking about the issues that are important to them. We can go somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes for each speaker to make their presentation, and inshallah that will come across very good. After that, what we will do is I may ask questions based on what the speaker has said, or based on their area of interest or on their qualifications. And we'll also ask other participants if they have any questions. And if any of the viewers want to ask a question, they can do so through a comment on Facebook. And if that question appears to be relevant, then, and if it hasn't been asked already, then I will put that question to the speaker that is named by the person posting the question on Facebook. So to our first speaker, Dr. Hassan Farouk, thank you very much for being part of the program, and we're really grateful that you can take time from your busy schedule, your busy teaching schedule, and to contribute something for the future of Bangladesh. If you would kindly give our viewers some information about yourself first, and then tell us about the situation in Bangladesh and where you would like it to be in the near future, inshallah.
Thank you very much. It is my privilege. You invited me in this forum to express my view regarding the Bangladesh. At the moment, I'm working as an assistant professor in the independent university in Bangladesh. And a part of this one, I am also a lawyer in High Court of Bangladesh, but I'm not focusing on the practice. At the moment, I'm busy with my teaching and research activities. Before that, I completed my PhD from Western Sydney University, Australia. I just came back years before from the Australia, and before that I completed my honors and masters from the UK. I also completed my bar at law from the UK university from Lincoln's Inn. So this is who I am, and I'm teaching in since long time. Since 2006 I am in teaching. I did not focus on too much in practice. This I am, and the topic of today is Bangladesh. The thing is freedom of speech, rule of law, and human rights is our topic of discussions. And the things is all the three topics, as I said, the freedom of speech, rule of law, and human rights, all the topic of the constitution. The constitution is the prime law for any country. So, for example, as Bangladesh as well, this is the constitutional topics. So these rights are guaranteed by the constitutions. If we look at the Article 26 to 2044, Part 3 of our constitutions says about the freedom of speech, rule of law, and a lot of human rights. And the human rights includes, because the rule of law and human rights is a very vast area. It is not possible to discuss all the shades in a very small time. So if I am giving some background. So in our constitution says equality before law, no discrimination on religion. These are for the human rights. Equal opportunity in public service, right to protection of law, safeguard on arrest and arbitrary detentions, freedom of movement, freedom of associations, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, so enjoyment of property. All the issues are mentioned in the Constitution of Bangladesh. Not only this, Bangladesh also signed 7 major international instruments or conventions or human rights instruments out of 9. So it is, we know everyone that there are 9 major international human rights instruments. Out of 9, Bangladesh signed 7 human rights instruments. These are Covenant Against Torture, so no arbitrary arrest or detentions. The government can, is the moral obligations under international law. International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Everyone has right of freedom, assembly, political rights. Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. International Child Conventions. Conventions on Eliminations of Discrimination Against Women. Rights of Persons with Disability, and Convention of the Elimination of all forms of racial discrimination, that no religious discriminations. So these are rights, international conventions Bangladesh signed. Out of 9, Bangladesh already signed 7. So as a constitutional rights, as an international commitment, Bangladesh legally and morally has obligations to follow the issues. But when we look at the practice, practice is a little bit different. So everything is not followed as a book. So when we see the practice, though, that was the different. And recently, just student movement gone in Bangladesh, and it was said the second liberation war in 5th of August happened in for the Bangladesh because of, it was said that there's no freedom of speech. It was said that because there is no rule of law, because there is no protection of the human rights or enjoyment of human rights. So therefore, so recently in this month, just 10 or 15 days before, so Bangladesh, it is literally says that Bangladeshi people or citizens enjoy the second liberation or freedoms. At this point, I would like to stop here, and my second discussion can go further in this topic. And when I come back, I can contribute more.
Yeah. When somebody breaches um, those right of there's not enough accountability, that they're not prosecuted, they're not brought to justice. Do you think that's the problem that is allowing for that level of human rights abuses?
Sorry, I missed because of the net. I couldn't get back to you. Would you please repeat?
Just you mentioned in your presentation that the human rights, including women's rights, are enshrined in the constitution. That all these rights are in the Bangladeshi constitution. So my question is, do you think that the human rights abuses that are happening or were happening up until the student protests, up until the flight of the dictator, do you think that there was a lack of accountability, that people who were abusing their power were not being prosecuted? Is that the problem, or do you think there's a deeper problem?
Yeah, this is the problem. If we look at the credible human rights reports, for example, Human Rights Watch, for example, UN Human Rights Commission, for example, Amnesty International, these are the world-renowned human rights organization or institution. They are providing the report each year or on each country. When you go back the report says yes, of course, there is no freedom of speech, or the government cannot tolerate the criticisms. In the government cannot, if there is any other view or a different view, that he should be persecuted, or there is another law in Bangladesh that is called the Digital Security Act. The government used this Digital Security Act to any person who says against about the government in the parliament. According to a report in the parliament, even the ex-prime minister criticized one particular newsprint or newspaper, which is said that leading newspaper in Bangladesh, it is the enemy of the government. because that newspaper was criticizing categorically with evidence criticize the government, but government could not tolerate it. So no expression of opinion, no freedom of think or this cartel or violations of women rights, which is mentioned in the constitution. Again, we're saying this is the constitution, these are the things we have to follow, but we're not following. Then the practice and the theory is totally different.
Mm. We've just been joined by the two remaining speakers. I have to apologize that I think one of the speakers, I didn't send the Zoom link to WhatsApp, so I didn't see it till just now. So thank you for Habib for joining us. Next speaker is Brother Habibur Rahman. If you would again kindly introduce yourself and then speak to the topic of tonight's program, and maybe after you speak, either myself or one of the other participants might ask you a question. Brother Habibur Rahman, if you would.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Actually, last program I was joined, I was speaking Bangla. Again, I said Maksud, he's translated.
That's fine.
Okay.
If you got your pen and paper,
Basically,
Maqsood, you need to translate.
Okay, let him start talking.
You need to take notes.
uh,
Brother Habibur, please go ahead.
বেসিক্যালি আমরা বাংলাদেশে আসলে বর্তমান প্রেক্ষাপট আমরা যে সাংবাদিকতা করছি সেখানে আমাদের যে মত প্রকাশের যে জায়গাটি বা স্বাধীনতাটি বা সংবাদ প্রকাশের যে স্বাধীনতাটি সেটা অনেকটাই বলা চলে যে ভঙ্গুর অবস্থায় রয়েছে এবং এর মূল অনেক কারণ রয়েছে। কারণ এখানে প্রশাসন বা সরকার, আমরা যেটি বলি বিগত সরকারের হিসাব যদি সেখানে আমরা দেখেছি যে সরকারের পক্ষ থেকে একটি বড় ধরনের প্রেশার গ্রুপ থাকে এবং তারা একটি বড় ধরনের প্রেশার করে আমাদের এই সাংবাদিকদের। এবং আরেকটি বিষয় রয়েছে যে সাংবাদিকদের মধ্যে কিছু অনেকেই রয়েছে যারা দলীয় এজেন্ডা বাস্তবায়ন করার একটা চেষ্টা করে। সেই দলীয় এজেন্ডা বাস্তবায়ন করার ক্ষেত্রে তারা প্রকৃত সংবাদ যেটি সেটি আসলে প্রকাশ করার ক্ষেত্রে অনেকটাই পিছিয়ে যায় এবং সেক্ষেত্রে দেখা যায় যে মাঠে যারা আমরা কাজ করি সেই জায়গায় যে দলীয় এজেন্ডা যারা বাস্তবায়ন করে বিশেষ করে অফিসে বসে তাদের এই কর্মকাণ্ডের কারণে আমরা মাঠে যারা যখন কাজ করি তখন যে আমরা মাঠের সাংবাদিকরা কিন্তু আহত হচ্ছি বা মানুষের প্রশ্নের মুখোমুখি হচ্ছি, কেউ আমাদেরকে আঘাত করছে। আমরা যখন মাঠের মানুষ আমাদের কাছে প্রকৃত সত্যটা জানতে চাচ্ছে তখন আমরা প্রকৃত সত্যের উত্তরটা দিতে পারছি না, এরকম জটিলতা রয়েছে। পাশাপাশি এই সাংবাদিকদের কণ্ঠ রোধ করার জন্য বেশ কিছু আমাদের এখানে আইন তৈরি করা হয়েছে, আইসিটি অ্যাক্ট যেটি আমরা বলি, যে আপনি যদি আপনার ভিন্ন মত প্রকাশ করেন, একটি ফেসবুকে একটি পোস্ট দেন, তাহলে কিন্তু এই আইসিটি অ্যাক্ট আইন যেটি রয়েছে সেখানে মামলা হয়ে যেতে পারে। এমন কিছু কালো আইন আমাদের দেশে করা হয়েছে, যেটি আমরা সাংবাদিকরা বারবার বলছিলাম যে আইন করা হোক, কিন্তু সেখানে সাংবাদিকদেরকে মুক্ত করে করা হোক। এবং যদিও কিন্তু সেটি করা হয়নি। পাশাপাশি বলা হয়েছিল যে কোনো কারণে যদি সাংবাদিকদেরকে আটক করতে হয় তাহলে সেটির একটি অনুমতি লাগবে, এরকম অনুমতি নেওয়ার বিষয়টাও কিন্তু ছিল, কিন্তু বাস্তবিক অর্থে আমরা আসলে সেই জিনিস দেখিনি। একটু যদি এই বর্তমান গেল কয়েকদিন আগেকার ঘটনার যদি বলি, সেটি হলো যে ঘটনাটি ঘটেছে বিশেষ করে শিক্ষার্থীদের কোটা বৈষম্য বিরোধী আন্দোলন, সেখানে গিয়ে কিন্তু আমরা অনেক সাংবাদিকই আহত হয়েছে এবং আমি নিজেও যারা প্রোটেস্টার ছিলেন তারা নানা প্রশ্ন করেছেন, আমি উত্তর দিতে পারিনি এবং এক সময় কিছু মানুষ আমাকে হামলা করেছে এবং আমাকে আঘাত করেছে, এরকম প্রেক্ষাপটে। এবং তারা যেটি আসলে বলে সেটি হলো যে আমরা প্রকৃত ঘটনাটি দেখাচ্ছি না, এবং আমরা অফিসের
Just a
কাছ
question,
থেকেও
Habib.
কিন্তু মাঠে যে ফোনের পর ফোন পাচ্ছি যে আহ, যে এটা করা যাবে না, এখানে এই ফুটেজটা দেখানো যাবে না, এই কথাটি বলতে হবে অফিসের উপর
Kindly
লেভেলে
stop for
যারা
a
রয়েছে।
second. There is a question which I need to ask. I think we have discussed about these things, the obstacles and the impediments we have for free speech. But what is the solution in the changed circumstances? আমি যদি বাংলায় বলি প্রশ্নটা,
সমস্যার সমাধান যদি আমরা করতে চাই, সমস্যার সমাধান যদি আমরা করতে চাই, সেখানে আমাদের যে আইনগুলো রয়েছে সেই আইনগুলোকে সংশোধন করতে হবে, এটি একটি বড় বিষয়। পাশাপাশি আহ কারো আদর্শ থাকতে পারে কোন একটা বিষয়ে, আদর্শের ঊর্ধ্বে গিয়ে সেখানে সাংবাদিকতাটা করতে হবে, মন গড়া কোনো কিছু করা যাবে না, এই জায়গাটায় নজর দেওয়ার একটি
the
বড় বিষয়
second
রয়েছে।
question,
পাশাপাশি
my supplementary question is, if you want to reverse the law, what do you want to do? Change the Digital Security Act or ditch the Digital Security Act?
অবশ্যই ডিজিটাল সিকিউরিটি অ্যাক্ট নিয়ে তো আমরা সাংবাদিকরা দীর্ঘদিন ধরে কথা বলছি, এটাকে তো পরিবর্তন অবশ্যই করতে হবে। এটা যদি
না, এটা
পরিবর্তন
আপনি কি
করা না
করতে
হয়
চাচ্ছেন?
তাহলে
চেঞ্জ করতে চাচ্ছেন না এটা কি বলে একবারে বাতিল করতে চাচ্ছেন?
এটা আমরা তো চাই একেবারে বাতিল। ডিজিটাল সিকিউরিটি অ্যাক্ট আমরা সাংবাদিকরা কখনোই এটার পক্ষে ছিলাম না, এবং এটাকে একেবারেই বাতিল করার পক্ষে আমরা সবসময় বলে আসছি। কারণ এই ডিজিটাল সিকিউরিটি অ্যাক্ট যদি থাকে তাহলে আসলে আমরা কোন সরকারের আমলেই আমরা আসলে আমাদের যে প্রকৃত সাংবাদিকতা করার বিষয়টি সেটি আসলে করতে পারবো না। আমরা শুরু থেকে বলে আসছি, এখনো বলি।
Right. That's the answer we are looking for. Thank you.
So what's the summary
So
of
if I now sum up what he says, that there are lots of impediments on the field working. Many journalists has been subjected to the violence, and the journalist wants to do their practice fair journalism, following the code of ethics of journalism they want to practice, but that is not possible because of various kind of rules, regulation, and laws prevented them to do that. And also government patronized pressure groups, they also pressuring the journalists not to do the right thing. They want them to work according to their will. So what he thinks that the changing rules could be an important thing. And on my question, he says that no, he actually prefer that this total Digital Security Act, DSA, should be discarded altogether. And I also think, since my affiliation with various reporting mechanism, that this law has to be discarded, because I don't think any country practice this sort of thing in any country in the world.
Can you explain a little bit more about this law?
Well, Digital Security Act is a draconian law. It gives extreme power to the security forces, such as police and other government bodies, to detain journalists and throw away the key. So, which should not be. So, as a result, every journalist, although they want to, as per Habibur Rahman, that most journalists want to do the right job, right thing, but they cannot do it because of the fear of the Digital Security Act, which prevent them to, they don't want to take the risk. And it happened in the past. Number of journalists in Bangladesh has been detained. Number of writers, cartoonists, and simple cultural professionals has been detained and punished over the time. So I think it is important in a changed circumstances in the country when, as we say, that the country have achieved the freedom. In light of this freedom, we need to throw away this Digital Security Act altogether.
So my question is that you've got an interim government now. The dictator has gone. Her government has fallen. Is the interim government still implementing this Digital Security Act?
No. This interim government is not applying this Digital Security Act. The Digital Security Act is still there, but government is not applying it. If they were applying it, we don't have been able to talk about
I want
what
to
we
say
are talking
something.
today.
I
Sorry,
would like
couldn't
to
hear.
add one
Yeah,
thing.
Maksud.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Maksud.
the Digital Security Act এর আগের গভর্নমেন্ট আমাদের উপর এটা ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করেছে, যেহেতু এটি এখন পর্যন্ত রয়ে গেছে, এটা কিন্তু বাতিল হয়নি। তো বর্তমান গভর্নমেন্ট আসলে করবে কিনা, বা এখন এই কয়েকদিনে হয়তো বা করেনি, কিন্তু সামনে করবে কিনা সেটা কিন্তু আমরা বলতে পারছি না। যেহেতু এটি একটি আইন এখনো বিদ্যমান, কাজেই আমাদের সত্য প্রকাশের ক্ষেত্রে এই গভর্নমেন্টও যে এটাকে আমাদের উপর ব্যবস্থা নিবে না এই আইন ব্যবহার করে, সেটা কিন্তু আসলে এখন পর্যন্ত বলা যাচ্ছে না। কাজেই এখন বলা যাবে না যে এই ইন্টার্নিং গভর্নমেন্ট বা অন্তর্বর্তীকালীন সরকার যারা রয়েছে তারা এটি করবে না। তারা যদিও বলেছে যে গণমাধ্যম স্বাধীনভাবে কথা বলতে পারবে, কাজ করতে পারবে, আমরা আসলে সেটি দেখার অপেক্ষায় রয়েছি যে আমরা আসলে কতটা করতে পারি। থ্যাংক ইউ।
I would like to add one thing. The Digital Security Act is not applicable only to the journalists. Any person, regardless. Even I put anything in the Facebook or no Twitter or my blog or Instagram, whatever it is. If the government think it is a danger for its by the name of national security or sovereignty or against the government can action. If the last government still continue, I think I will not be here. I'll not participate in this program because I have a lot of things. I don't want to bring any hamper for me. So therefore, if there's no freedom of expressions, I cannot criticize. I have to say yes. So therefore, these are things really. Yeah.
Well, thank you for
What
that.
I want to add here is that the Digital Security Act is a bad thing for the country, and with the current government, we shouldn't be so concerned that whether they're going to implement this against us one day. I think as of now, interim government is trying to do everything as per the people's will. Whatever people asking for, they are trying to implement everything. And we must acknowledge the fact that they just taken the power, and this country has been inundated with bad rules, regulations, corrupt people, corruption, endemic corruption, and all these things over the last 16 years. So they can't just clear up everything in 16 days. We have to give them proportional time to work onto it. And that's probably the best thing we can do as the citizens, to allow the government to let them do. And we are here, the students, those who lead the protest, they are also here. We can all observe and see whether government is doing the right thing. If not, we can speak up again. But by the look of it, since this government came, the people we never thought that will brought under law, they have been taken to the court, they are detained, and they are also in remand to, interrogate about their, past wrongdoings, and many of them are confessing their guilt. So this is a good thing. I believe that government is probably working in the right track.
Let's hope that they are. Our next speaker is Sister Jasmima. Would you kindly give us an introduction to yourself, and then go into the topic, your topic for today?
Okay. Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I'm myself Jasmima Sabatina. Currently I'm studying at Daffodil International University, Department of Environmental Science and Disaster Management. Also, I have two more identity, which is I have a youth climate activist and also a research officer at Oak Ridge. So, first of all, with a great sadness, actually, that my country, Bangladesh, has struggling with flood now today. So Kumilla, Feni, Noakhali, there is flooding. So this is also a climate affected things, and also the human rights, because human rights equals to climate is perhaps. And also as a climate activist, I have to talk about the climate demands, because there is a government, previous government, there is lots of corruption to the climate sector, also environmental sector. So as far as I can see that if any project or any kind of development we are here to contribute to the Bangladesh, sorry, okay. Okay, so as far as any kind of project or any kind of developing things in Bangladesh, there's lots of corruption. There's lots of money to taking to the government, but not for developing to the people. So there is a climate justice and also the various types of things that COP28 or global climate strike, we are happening all over the world, also Bangladesh, but there is no perfect result. We didn't have the perfect result. We didn't have the climate justice. So there is the youth role. As a youth climate activist, I have to be more protective to my country, more protective to the climate, because we all know that there is no planet B, there is only planet A, so we have to be more protective. So climate justice is not about the climate, it's about the human rights. So that's the thing, that youth role is very much important to the climate and climate sector. Yeah, that's it for me.
Oh, that's one thing that we've noticed around the world, that when we see high levels of corruption, that also we see complete disrespect for the environment. We see dumping of sometimes toxic waste in rivers and canals and into the ocean, and it just becomes a terrible thing. But it also happens to a much smaller extent in some first world countries. But what happens in first world countries is that there are government agencies that police these things and can heavily fine people who do engage in actions that are damaging to the environment. Do you know, maybe one of the other speakers, maybe Dr. Hassan or Brother Muhammad, can tell us, does Bangladesh have environmental laws? Are they strong environmental laws? Do they have an agency that enforces these laws, or is it just something that is just totally ignored?
Yes, yes. In Bangladesh, there is lots of strong environmental law, but we are the humans. We are not. Okay.
Sorry. I think you can continue, Sister Jasmima. I know
Okay.
if anybody, look, it might be better for whoever's not speaking to keep their system on mute until they want to speak, and it might be a lot easier if someone who's not speaking to just raise their hand, and then I can ask them to unmute themselves. So, Sister Jasmima, please continue.
Okay, so has a question that as we have the strong environmental laws. Yes, we have, but for the environment and climate sector, we are the people are using that word is hopeless. Why hopeless? Because we are not protective our climate. We are hopeless. So we have to be more protective, and we are the youth. We have to be more protective and more aware for the climate. So automatically, if laws will be also demandable.
Do you think that poverty is also a problem that is contributing to perhaps insufficient care for the environment?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you please
poverty,
repeat?
people being poor.
Sorry,
Do you think that
I have
maybe
some
Brother
net issue
Maqsood can
maybe.
explain it, the level of poverty that a lot of people have don't have enough income, that could be causing perhaps people not
Yeah,
to give a
of
priority to the
course,
environment.
of course,
And
of course, of course.
you mentioned the flooding, so uh, I'm not sure how natural the floodings are, whether the present damage to the environment, whether global warming or other factors are
Yeah,
causing an increase in this flooding. But just on the issue of flooding, for the people watching, there are many Muslim charities in Australia and outside of Australia that do raise funds to help
yes,
deal with these environmental factors. We don't raise money here, but if anybody has a specific organisation other than the ones that we know, feel free to, an organisation that you trust that raises funds, feel free to mention the name or put later in the comments, and people can give donations to that charity to help the people in need. Um, Anybody else would like to answer that question? Dr. Hassan, if you would kindly.
Yeah, thank you very much. The issue is the flood and the poverty. One of the main reason of the flood is the corruptions, because the government is spending millions of dollars for to protect the bank and the dam. But because there is
yeah,
a lot of corruptions that are going on, so there is no accountability. And since the most of the contractor or engineer working behind our government supporter, so even there is a big corruption, they are moving freely. So there is no rule of law, there is no, the criminal prosecutions or no charges. So therefore, same as because of the rule of law, problem of the main thing is the rule of law and accountability. If there is a rule of law, then the accountability is easy to control. If you compare the Australia and Bangladesh is very tiny compared to the land. The Australia almost 70 or 76, uh, more than 76 times bigger Australia than Bangladesh. But because it is great rule of law, one place to one another place in Australia is the time difference is 3 hours, 4 hours. So it is so vast, it's bigger than the Europe. So, but there is a rule of law, accountability, there is very difficult to get the corruption, so involved in the corruption. So here in back home Bangladesh is a very tiny country, and only one form of government. One is only central government. There is no parliamentary, the two branches of parliament. There's only one parliament, is the only one 300 members, but there is so much corruption over there. There's no accountability. Even though there's a lot of law, nothing else, I can make the best law in the world. So if there is no implementation, if there is no good intention, if there is no good framework, no good mechanism, good bureaucracy, so it will not work. So eventually everything comes for the rule of law, accountability, and which is the part of the human rights. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Brother Muhammad, did you want to add anything to this issue or not?
No, I don't want to add anything. What brother Dr. Hassan said is absolutely correct.
Yeah, I suppose it's like most things that if the public if the public show concern and they raise this issue, then the government starts to allocate funding to it. If they don't, then the government doesn't. We we need we maybe not just inside Bangladesh, but also some of the wealthier countries to help Bangladesh police the environment, because this is not just something that will affect the people of Bangladesh. It'll affect us all over the world. It is something that the environment is a global issue, not just a local issue affecting one country to the exclusion of others. Next speaker is Brother Jahidul Islam. If you would kindly give us a brief introduction about yourself and then make your presentation, Brother Jahidul Islam.
Hello everyone. I am Mohammad
Welcome.
Jahidul Islam from Bangladesh, and I work in English newspaper, The Business Standard, as a staff reporter. And I am working in a political issue, city governance issue, and um, city utility services, and climate and environmental issues. So the last 5 years, I stayed in national journalism, and previous 4 years, I was involved in campus journalism, and where I studied in Kumila University. Firstly, I shared my experience in field level last. I thought it is a revelation in for our country. It was the second. We thought it is the second liberation in our country, because at least 15, 16 years, one one man show is shot, one man PC, one man prime minister, and in our journalism sector, I feel some problems when I work in my field, work in my profession, and other sector. Firstly, it is Bangladesh journalism. It not still now is it is not a industry, I think, because every journalism, every newspaper are based on any other group. It is not independent, and not a single newspaper or TV or national daily or online. Not a single newspaper are independent. Because every newspaper involved within a group or a multinational company. So, firstly, when any journalist work in their workplace, if any occurrence occurred in his barrier, but he did not publish this, because it is a barrier of their company, of their founder, or their money is supported. So I think this is the first problems for journalism in our country. Then our government, every year, my brother Habib Bhai was also described about the government some issues where they interrupt the media with Digital Security Act and some any other issues. Not only the law, but also they involve every single journalist, what he do, what he meet with any others, and meet any people who are involving on politics or any different political parties. But it is very hazard, I think, because a journalist meet every people. I think not only BMP or Awami League or Jamaat or any other political parties. So if any government officers or any government agency found that any journalist met with any other political parties or against the ruling parties, so they interrupt the journalist. You saw some journalists were last 1 decade, more than 10 journalists were died. One ruling party affected. In this last case, at least 4 journalists were died in the massacre. When I describe, I just share one day. I think I was affected from the ruling parties last 4 August, when I was in my worked in Dhanmondi area. It is just I just want to save my colleague, another colleague who was affected by the ruling party's men. They were beaten, the journalist. He more and more times saw I am journalist, and he show his card and any other identity, but they didn't know his comments, and they said, why you were came here, why you were come here to covering this issue. But everywhere, every people here were carrying sticks, carrying thick and shotguns, I think, arms. So after I saved him, and then they attacked me, and they attacked my head, and I was injured. So this is the, I thought, I saw this is the real situation journalism in our country. So after the interior government reform and the commitment, the journalist will save, and we believe that Bangladesh now become move forward, and journalists will work independent, and they are not barrier. There will no any digital security act, and there will no any barrier for their profession. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, and it's very courageous of you to tell us these things. And it was, of course, very courageous to step in and try and help your friend. This is what a lot of people don't understand, is that when you have free independent media, then that is part of what helps a nation improve and become better. And we don't move forward if we don't have critical eyes looking at our mistakes and helping us to see the errors that we are committing. It might be scary for a lot of people, but it's also very brave. And I hope that more people in the country would show you the respect that you deserve, and would stand with you and support you. For all those viewers who would be seeing this program in Bangladesh, your journalists are a crucial part of society who help you improve your nation and bring accountability. If people don't know, then the corrupt will continue in their corruption. They will continue to rob the resources of the country and persecute the people. And for those who are watching us, if you see a journalist covering these areas and you know they have a good reputation, you know that their reporting has always been with integrity, then you should go in there and stand by their side and then protect them when they're facing danger. If anybody else would like to ask Brother Jahidul a question or make a comment on this point, please just put your hand up. Or Maqsood, it looks like you want to say something.
Question for Mr. Islam. I have sent a note about that. Anyway, my question is that you referred to 4 incidents of killing of journalists while on duty, and number of other assaults on journalists while they are working. Is there any cases being lodged in favor of those against those killings, whether the employers of the those journalists or their family already filed cases in the courts?
Yeah, I heard today and yesterday filing two cases, I think. Two cases already. And it is amazing that the four incident are worked by police.
So
Four person.
who filed those cases? Are those the journalistic rights group or the family or
Family.
government?
Family. The two people, family file two cases, and
There is
um,
no difference being a journalist being killed on duty. I think there should be some rights group that who will stand up for these things. That if
yeah, it is needed.
there is no rights group in Bangladesh that who can speak up. So as a journalist, as a working journalist, in these changed circumstances, do you think that you have a duty or you should take a role in organize some sorts of rights group that who will speak up for these things?
Yeah, there are so many rights group of journalists
No,
in
my question was that
Bangladesh.
if there
Okay,
are
okay.
40 rights group and 4 cases has not been filed, it means that 40 rights group have, there is no point of having 40 rights group.
It means they're not doing their job.
They are not doing their job. So in the changed circumstances, we have one of the world's best public person who is our head of the government. We have a changed thing. I think journalists also need to start thinking in a different way that we have to speak up for ourselves. Those old groups, they have not been doing anything. I know from some time ago that the president and the secretary general of the National Press Club has been suspended or
Suspended,
membership has been withdrawn. And number of other media executives have been sued recently. But excuse me, why there is no group in Bangladesh who actually stood up for this journalist, 4 journalists killed? It's a warlike situation. Or the lives of journalists are completely valueless in Bangladesh. I can say either way.
Yeah, it is one kind of we feel this because who were existing in journalist right group, they are involving the politics. And
my question is that in this situation, you are saying, what I understand from what you said, that journalistic bodies are not effective. They are not really standing up for the rights of the ordinary journalists.
Yeah.
And you are working in one of the leading newspaper in Bangladesh. And do you feel that you have a responsibility at this situation that to organize a group, get some colleagues together and friends together and create a lobby group that will speak up for the people, those whose rights have been violated?
Yeah, it is must needed this time because past time was horrible, I think, and now we can think.
We know about the
in
past. We know
future.
about the past. We all acknowledge about the past. But I'm talking about now and future.
Yeah, we think about this, and we involve some journalists to accommodate one rights group, and it is ongoing process. So if anyone help us, so we welcome him. And
okay. We want to help. We want to help. Let us know. Keep us updated.
Sure.
Look, there's a very good point that you made at the end. If anybody wants to help, and I think this gathering, this webinar that we have, we've got lawyers, we've got reporters, we've got environmental activists. I think if we keep each other's contact details, you might be able to put a little bit more pressure on some of these rights groups, and if they're not effective, perhaps form a new one. I think also because you have an interim government, and I presume there's going to be elections soon, the question needs to be asked to everybody, to every candidate. What will you do to protect the freedom of the media? And if they don't protect the freedom of the media, then people need to know. Maybe they won't get elected. Maybe I'm optimistic that it'll make a difference. I'm hoping that there will be a free and fair election where people are actually elected into their parliamentary positions instead of being appointed behind the scenes. But I think the conversation needs to start somewhere. And when you start the conversation and raise this issue, what does a reporter do? They report what is happening. People need to know what is happening, and simplifying it to these basics and getting the message. One would hope that there will be a movement picking up momentum amongst the ordinary people to demand that you are protected in your job. It is very disturbing to hear that reporters are targeted. We've seen it. We've seen it in Gaza. We've seen how Israel has targeted reporters. We don't want Bangladesh to descend to that horrific level. We want Bangladesh to be a leading country in terms of human rights, in terms of achievement, in terms of prosperity. In Australia, Maqsood will know, having being someone who lives in Australia, Dr. Hassan, who studied in Australia, you all know that when somebody from Bangladesh comes to Australia and they live here, they work hard, they make sure their children get a good education. Many of them are quick to go into the political field as well, and they are amongst the best citizens of the country. What this shows is that all these intelligent people who are forced to flee would, if they stayed in Bangladesh, they would make a huge difference and make Bangladesh one of the best countries in the world. We're here to help. This is why we stay up and hold these events, and I'm hoping that more people will be encouraged to help. This is a human issue. It's not an issue of race or of religion. It's an issue of basic human rights that everybody deserves. And maybe I don't know. Maybe Dr. Hassan or Brother Muhammad will volunteer to join this movement to help protect the people who find the facts and report them, the journalists in Bangladesh. Yes, Brother Muhammad. Okay, our next speaker is Brother Muhammad Abdul Awal. Again, I will ask you to introduce yourself and then speak to the topic, Brother Muhammad.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu
alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A little bit introduction about myself, that I'm Muhammad Abdul Awal. I'm from Bangladesh. Currently I'm working as an advocate of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. So today our topic is freedom of speech, then rule of law, then human rights. Though all are connected to each other, I want to share two things about the freedom of speech. Then I will go to the rule of law because a number of my brothers, they are talking, they already talked about the freedom of speech. One thing is that to my journalist brother, that you are talking about the government pressure, government operation, and so many things, and you want to abolish the Digital Security Act. But I have a question to you, do you feel any pressure from the owner of the newspaper or publisher, or all pressure is this from government or any other body also? So in your working place, I don't know exactly, you will be know better than me, that maybe there are some pressure from your owner of the newspaper or media. They will pressure you, do this or don't do this, whether it is right or wrong, to have some favor from the ruling government. Sometimes the owner of the media, I think that sometimes the owner of the media, they pressure you, maybe. And another point is that one of my brother, he told that to totally abolish the Digital Security Act. I think as a lawyer, it is not possible, because the Digital Security Act not it is related only to the freedom of expression. It is also related to our cyber security. So many things are here: our personal security, our forensic matter, our national issues, our different types of digital and electronic device. So all types of securities are here to protect by this act. So we can better that we can amend some sections. We can amend section Digital Security Act 2018, section 23, section 24, section 29, section 27. So a number of sections we can amend. This is my recommendation, that to ensure the freedom of expression, freedom of press, or freedom of speech, we can amend those sections only, not to abolish whole act. So before starting my point, that the rule of law, I would like to read one of section of my current existing law. The government may, if satisfied with respect to any person, that with a view to preventing him from doing any prejudicial act, it is necessary so to do, make an order directing that such person be detained. Second, directing him to remove himself from Bangladesh. So 2 points here. One is, if the government think that I'm not committing any wrong, that government is thinking, that ruling party is thinking, is that there is a possibility to make any act which is against the government, which is against the public policy. So in that case, government may detain myself without any reason, without showing any cause. And another thing is that then government may remove myself from country in such a manner, whatever the government like. So I'm deciding this two section from the Special Powers Act 1974. Though the matter is very sorrow, the 1971, the ruling party was Awami League government, and the Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was the president of in that time. He made this law to control the opposition. But after that, number of government ruled my country, but no one changed any section of this act. Though we are saying about the act that it is a black law, it is against the human rights, against the rule of law, but no government change it. So I hope through this forum, I'm hoping that the current government, though this is not a political government, it is an interim government may change this act, abolish. I think this act should be abolished. And brother Dr. Hassan, he is senior to me, and he is knowledgeable person. He may agree with me that it should be the Special Power Act 1971 should be abolished. And my another discussion is that the rule of law. to ensuring the rule of law, we have to have accountability, just law, open government, accessible and impartial justice. So accountability is not only for the private sector. It is not only about the government, and accountability should be in private and also in public sector. So government should be accountable and private sector will be accountable. You know, in Bangladesh, the number of private companies, they are exploiting their employee about their salary, about their rights, their working hours. Though in a international law, working hour is only 8 hours, but they are doing 15 hours, 16 hours, and even more. So accountability should be not only in public sector, but also in private sector. And the government, sometimes we see that government make some treaties, some contract with neighboring countries or another countries. But by showing the reason, it's that it is the matter of public interest or national security, we don't want to explore it to the people. We don't want to share with the people. So I think it is not an open government. And an open government should be explore everything to his citizen, that we are doing so and so for your betterment. But last government, we see there are number of treaties, number of contracts with our neighboring country, India, which is against our interest of our people of the Bangladesh. Number of treaties we have given. You know, last prime minister, what she said? He said that we have given so many things to the India, and India will remember us up to the end. India will remember us. So how many things we have given to the India? By showing this reason is that the treaty is very secret. So we don't want to share with the people. So I think that to ensure our rule of law, we have to have the accountability both in private and public sector, and also we have to be an open government, which is very accessible to the people. And what I said last meeting, that accessible and impartial justice system, in earlier time I said something. So I think that to ensure freedom of speech and freedom of expression and also rule of law, human rights, we have to work both in individual, collectively, and also individually. Individually, I have to do so many things to ensure rule of law, and I have to obey the law. I have to respect the law. Then I have to obey the traffic rules. And you know, in Bangladesh, the traffic is maintaining by the student. So students are giving the inspiration to the other people that yes, this is right, this is wrong, and we have to do it, and we don't have to do it. So the awareness from myself, from my family, and then to the country. So there's all of my discussion. If anyone have any questions, you may ask the question. And I'm really sorry that today suddenly my wife is become ill and I had to go to the hospital, and that is why I was late to attend the meeting. Thank you so much.
May Allah give her healing, inshallah, tahur, inshallah. Dr. Hassan, you wanted to say a few words about this? You're on mute at the moment. You need to unmute.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity. I have some observations or comments regarding the Brother Sawal's comments and other observations. Number one, a Special Power Act. The Special Power Act was adopted in 1974 after the birth of the Bangladesh, and at that moment the system or the government was in Bangladesh. The new state is just born, no police, no forces, no mechanism Therefore, for the special issues to mechanism to protect the law and order, government use that one. So there is a different background and perspective. But each and every government, when each and every party, political party, when they are in opposition, they say this is the black law. And when they are in power, this Special Power Act is their main law. It is my observations. So it has become black law for the opposition parties. But it is the Special Power Act 1974 is the main law for the ruling party. Because by using this Special Power Act, government has authority to detain a person 6 months at least without any explanations. They can go. And therefore, to escape from this, he has to go to the High Court for it. There's a lot of procedures. So government have extreme power, the sovereign power. Of course, it should not be abolished. There may be some provisions may be moderate or modified or up to date. So because if you run the government, you have to think a lot of things. The lot of things you have to think. So you need some extreme power to control your government. And Bangladesh is geographically or geopolitically, Bangladesh is a very, very vulnerable situation. We are surrounded by three parts by the India. Only one side is open by the Bay of Bengal. So my opinion should not be abolish all the Special Power Act in future. The government thinks some provisions may be moderate or up to date. Number two, a Digital Security Act. Of course, with the brother Awal, I would like to say that yes, some provisions may be modified or amended, not the whole, because same as so if there is something against the government, against the state, the government should have some mechanism to protect it. Even in the Australia, the Maritime Security Act, you have a lot of power. You can control the sovereignty the first. So if there is any, but the government should not misuse it. If they should be implement a mechanism not to misuse, but there may be some provisions may be amended. And in the case of treaty, international treaty, government is not bound to disclose all the treaties because of this is the thing, this is the diplomacy. And only one treaty was discussed in so far in Bangladesh, that is the India and Bangladesh river water distribution, that is Ganga Pani Chukti in 1996. Only one treaty was discussed. Government may discuss the issues in treaty agreement in the parliament, but government has no boundary, has no bound according to the constitutions. And one thing is that we are talking about the freedom of speech. And we have a lot of expectations from the present interim government. In my opinion, the problem is not for the last 15 years. The problem is from the birth. Each of the ruling party, and so far, Bangladesh is run or controlled by three political groups: Awami League, BNP, and Jatiya Party. Either they are in power, and either they are in opposition. The three political groups or parties rule up to today, 55 years since his birth around. So they are enjoying all the things. So this is not the problem of only 15 years. Freedom of speech is problem since the birth. Because when the Bangladesh was born, within 3 years, at the time, the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, banned all the newspaper except 4. He banned all the politics and all except his party. So freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of assembly is not a problem from now. It is happening since his birth. So we have a lot of expectations, this interim government. Only they are only for the 15 days or 12 days they are in power. So we have burdensome expectation from there. I don't know what is their vision and mission. So I don't know how they will continue. So that the problem they are facing, it is cannot be eliminated 1 or 2, 3 months. Lot of changes every day we can see. Like yesterday they changes around 600 city corporations or municipality corporations councillor or mayor. Every day they're changing every head of the on organizations or deputy head of the organizations. So a lot of things to do. So for the rule of law, for the freedom of speech, it is the practice. it is not means that I'm making the best law in the world, calling all the best lawyer in the world, drafting a best law, and from tomorrow, yeah, everyone following the traffic, everyone will get the justice from the court. No, this is a practice. It will come through day by day. It will take the time. Yes, there's a massive change will come, but change will is the starting point. Students are controlling at the moment the traffic. It doesn't mean they will continue. Since there is no police after the change of the government in 5th of August, because from 5th August until 5th August, police was working as an alliance of the government. Police was against the government, general people. The ruling party, the Awami League, used the police as their party. So therefore, police escaped from his duty. Since there was no one, so student started voluntarily to work as a traffic controller. So since it is a beginning, so we have expectation that the present government, we try to eliminate the problem as much they can, because of course they will not continue for a long time. So hope that they'll try to minimize the problem, and when the elected government will come, and they will continue the good work.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Mm.
Last speaker is Brother Maqsood. Brother Maqsood, if you don't mind starting with an introduction of yourself and then speak on the topic, please.
Okay, my name is Maqsood Al-Kabir. I'm a human rights worker. I mainly work onto the migration, human rights, and mental health and international development areas. Reason for asking Brother Kaisa to convene this event was to recent incidents in Bangladesh, recent circumstances in Bangladesh, and a lot of things have been changed. And I, as a Bangladeshi Australian dual national, obviously care for my country and want to see something good happens there. It's always hard to be the last speaker, and it's harder when you become last speaker after 2 lawyers. Well, in this world, everybody need a weapon. Police need a weapon, army need a weapon, lawyers need a weapon, human rights workers, they also need a weapon, but the weapon has difference. Army and police probably need guns, lawyers need law, and a poor human rights worker like me, we actually don't need those sorts of weapons. We have a different weapon, that is love, understanding, and caring for the people. In light of that, I would say that, let me tell a bit about the Bangladesh's history of legal structure. Bangladesh, from long time, we inherited some common law from UK when it was a penal colony. Then Pakistan incorporated those laws into our law. We have all those laws. Then we have Bangladesh. We have a new constitution in 1971. And on top of that, we have a Special Security Act. We have Digital Security Act. We have ICT and all this kind of thing. I am all in favor of ditching all this law. Probably this is a time that Bangladesh need to look at, rewrite the constitution, making a better one. At the circumstances we made the constitution in 1971, 72, that is probably changed the situation. And with the change of this situation, we need new law, new constitution, which will obviously speaks about environment, global issues, global warming, human rights, and many other things that human beings have understand over the time. And in terms of the Special Security and Digital Security Act, I think that both this draconian law has to be discarded, because in Bangladesh we inherited law from UK, and we have BPC, Bangladeshi Penal Code, we have CRPC, criminal procedures, or something like that. We have law for everything. We are not in short of any law. This Special Security Act and this Digital Security Act, it's always been misused against the people, abused against the people, and it has been a tool for harassing the citizens. So these sorts of laws should be discarded as early as possible. The second thing is that we have law, and there could be, somebody might raise the question that there could be abuse. People could use the digital means or other means, make something bad. Well, we have law for that. All we need that proper implementation of the law and no abuse of law. And most importantly, what the world who abuse internet most widely. Many educated people don't even know their rights and obligation while they're using net. And Bangladesh is a country who spread propaganda, misinformation widely, even unknowingly. After this fall of Sheikh Hasina regime, I have seen a lot of people putting lots of kind of information that which have no connection to the truth. And if the people are not educated about the culture and the things they are using, it will continue. So incarceration, punishment, legislation, nothing would change this thing. Only thing is that a new government should organize widespread digital education and inform and educate people about that, about their rights and obligations, that what they need to do. And if somebody breach those things, there are laws, we can probably try the miscreants. That's what I think about the rule of law. And this is probably a time for Bangladesh to reinvent the situation and introduce proper rule of law as early as possible. And that's the only thing we can do at the moment to bring the country in order. Our police have been away from jobs. They started coming back. Our judiciary was not functional for more than 1.5 decades. And cleaning the judiciary, probably the most important thing at the moment for the government and the people of Bangladesh. And if that happens, I think people can get justice. And human rights, obviously, our country have very little understanding about human rights. And the rights group are not working as rights group. They are working as puppet of somebody else. I'm very surprised and disappointed to know that 4 journalists were killed while they were on duty. Why not their employer go to the court and file cases against those killings? Why not their rights group? There is the National Press Club, there are a number of journalistic bodies. What are they doing? They're not doing their job. So this organization need to restructure and understand and evaluate their actions, that whether they are doing the right thing. I've seen a number of cases being filed, political cases being filed against a number of media executives and so on. But it need to be, I think many of them need to be taken to the court and question the circumstances why they have done this kind of thing. And I think in this situation, there are lots of legal action need to be taken. And I think it's very important. I am talking to the lawyers, I'm talking to the journalists and other group of peoples. And I think it is very important for us to probably look at organizing some lobby groups, organizing some public interest law centers and those sorts of things, and who can actually address the public rights issues. So that's all I think about this total circumstances, but I'd be happy to take any question and elaborate on that.
There's one question that came through Facebook as a comment, and one of the viewers also commented on the Digital Security Act. He believes it's draconian, but the question that came to us, actually, before I get into the question, from what we've heard tonight, yes, the implementation of the Digital Security Act appears to have been draconian, but both lawyers in our panel have stated that the act needs to be amended. It has to remain, but it needs to be amended because, in essence, the spirit of the act is supposed to protect the rule of law, protect the rights of the people of Bangladesh, and this is the nature of man-made laws. All posited laws go through a process of review and amendment, and sections of different laws get amended regularly. And that's something that with the right lobbying and representation can come into effect, that these laws can be changed and be made fairer and have certain scrutinies so that they are not implemented in an unfair or manner against the citizenry. One of the viewers asked the question as to whether things are, I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to use his exact words, but the question is whether things are going to stabilize in Bangladesh or whether things are likely to escalate. This viewer is from a Bangladeshi background, and he is worried about escalation. Would anybody like to speak to this issue about whether you think things are stabilizing? I've certainly seen some articles through the Indian media that seem to me to be articles that are based on paranoia, misreading of the situation, and perhaps creating division and inciting hatred. I don't know whether Brother Jahidul would like to comment on that, being a reporter, or Dr. Hassan, or Sister Jasmima, or Brother Muhammad, or Maqsood. If any of you would like to comment on this issue, put your hand up, and so that we're not speaking over each other, and then I'll call your name out.
To hand up. Looking at how to hand up.
Well, no, there's no. Oh, sorry, you're speaking. No one else put their hand up. You can speak.
I think my response would be about whether things going to escalate. I don't think so, because Bangladeshi people, especially the young students, those who hasn't had the taste of corruption, favoritism, and all sorts of bad things going on in the country, they were away from those things. Young blood has been able to organize a successful campaign and depose a 16-year-old dictator. And the bad things that designed and grasped Bangladesh, that has been deposed completely. Now we can hear many kind of things. So this will not be, all right, we're going to see more uprise and all this kind of thing. We have heard those threats. Like some time ago, people said that Sheikh Hasina had been to India and she will come back soon. And we have given the clear indication that she is coming back on 15th of August. And they were going to organize the biggest rally and depose current interim government. All these things we have heard, but nothing has realized. And it is very easy to make vague threats sitting down in another country, but it's hard to get things done. The young people have really fought. They really fought. They didn't care about their life. They didn't care about their job. They didn't care about their exam. They didn't care about anything. They care about only one thing, that we want to clean up our country. And they became successful. And everybody, I think 99% people of Bangladesh supported it, that yes, we want this. We want this, and everybody wanted it, and it happened. Now somebody giving us threat from UK, somebody giving us threat from India, and they are saying that we're going to make a huge uprising and things. I don't think so. Things are not that easy. And obviously, the country's leadership is in good hand. I don't know about everyone personally, but I definitely believe that Professor Yunus is the right person to fix this country, and he will be successful. He will be successful as a national, as a citizen. as a
Blindly trust him.
as a citizen living overseas, I obviously believe that Professor Yunus will be helpful, and we will continue to support to clean up Bangladesh and make it a country. Last 16 years was complete nightmare. Today we are speaking freely. We can express our opinion. We can talk whatever we like, whatever we feel. And that was not possible even before 5th of August. So this is a huge victory. And this victory has to be cherished, and things will be changed. We need to focus on few things, global warming, many other important issues we have at the moment. We need to focus on those things rather than listening to anyone's negative propaganda that this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Today there is a flood in Bangladesh, and there are widespread opinion from the people that this is probably India have opened all the gates, floodgates they have opened, and water comes. It could be true, I don't know, but I'm not a environmental scientist to comment on that. But whatever it happens, in the past, we have bigger flood, bigger famine, bigger problem. We survived. We, the Bangladeshis, survived, and we have done excellently well. You know, only 2 or 3 days ago, I read a news report that over $150 billion has been sent out of the country. So if that money was in country, Bangladesh could have been parallel to Singapore, another country like that, but we lost that. But never mind, I'm very optimistic that country is heading to the right direction, and we will achieve a better Bangladesh soon.
Sister Jasmima, you wanted to say something, or Sister Jasmima, you need to unmute. Yes, thank you.
As Maksud sir said that Dr. Yunus is the right person, and we students are blindly trust him because he's really educated person and also deserving person. So we blindly trust him that our country will be developed by his hand. That's it.
Dr. Hassan, did you want to say anything on this topic? Or?
One thing I would like to add, at the moment is either directly or indirectly, leadership gone through the students. So therefore, indirectly, the movement is led by the students, and we can say in the interim government, there are 2 students representative in this interim government. So if the students are aware and they keep continue, I am very optimistic that there should be a radical change in Bangladesh. And in whole of my life, since my joining in teaching professions, I'm telling to my students that we need a fresh thinking. The person who did politics in 1971, 72, they should go for retirement, and we think we need a new thinking, new blood, new spirit. So since the leadership is under the directions or with the help or support of the students, I think if they can continue and if students are aware, there is a very good future for the Bangladesh. And most of all, the interim governments, the people, most of them are very well renowned, including the Dr. Yunus. So therefore, there is a very good chance for Bangladesh to move forward. And the thing is, we have to one thing be careful, because this interim government is for the interim period, not for the long period. So they are here to rebuild the country. So they are not to rule the country. We have to think it. It is my opinion. So they are not to rule the country. Therefore, to rebuild the country, the erase, the remove of the problem of the last few decades. So therefore, when the election will come, of course, it should be a fair election. Otherwise, the chaos will continue. The proper election will come, and new government will come. Hopefully, they will continue the good work of the present governments. Otherwise, everything become the same.
Yeah, inshallah, things will be better for everyone in Bangladesh. Brother Jahidul, did you want to add anything on this point?
No, thank you. Firstly, this is the nice opportunity for meet you with you and others, and I want to keep in touch with you
Inshallah.
and others.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
One last thing I wanted to add. I think it is very important for the country at the moment to fix two things first: judiciary, and adopt a acceptable and better system that where people will not be, whoever elected the next government will not be able to re-employ their people of choice and do whatever they like. System need to be upgraded. The system we have in the country at the moment, it's outdated, it's backdated, it's probably reached to its expiry long time ago. So we need to update the system, like the computer updates the system with the latest generation. So we need to update the system, and at the same time, we need to fix the judiciary. If the judiciary is all right, no one can get away by doing anything wrong. I think everything will be fine.
Inshallah. Brother Muhammad, would you like to say anything on this point? Now that each speaker has contributed to this topic, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to being with us and to sharing this conversation. And if there's any concluding remarks that anybody would like to make, this is the time to make them. And after that, we would conclude this event. And so I'll just defer to any of the speakers. If anybody would like to say any closing remarks, maybe we start with you, Maqsood, if you would like to say anything.
Well, I think I have spoken too much, but this is probably I need to do over and over again, because we need to fix the country. To fix the country, we probably need to keep in touch, keep doing what we are doing, and of course, we have to keep our chin high and head held high and keep working. And this is a time and an opportunity that we should do something. Early in the morning, I'll be flying to Malaysia to meet our remittance fighter brothers and sisters there. And obviously, they are one of the strongest pillar of our country who help the country in the no matter what it is, with their contribution as foreign currency to Bangladesh. So that is a group of people we probably need to focus on more, probably need to work more to give them a better way of dealing with them. Because every time I cross through Dhaka airport, I travel a lot. And every time I cross the Dhaka airport, I feel that where I have arrived. So these things and the way the remittance fighter are being treated, this regime has to be changed. This culture has to be changed. And there are a lot of problems with this remittance fighter, those who are helping our country a great deal. And these policies and the people, those who are taking advantage of misusing them or abusing them, they has to be punished and removed from the positions. And we all need to support these initiatives and help our brothers and sisters working overseas. So I would like to keep in touch with everyone and hopefully to secure everyone's support and support each other, most importantly, and get a better Bangladesh.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Anybody else would like to say anything?
Uh,
Yeah. Brother Abdullah, you can carry on, please.
okay, brother, you can continue, and I will talk later. Sure.
No, that's I would like to express my thanks to the organizer, Mr. Kai's brother, and all other peoples, and for arranging such a nice discussions. And we are discuss a lot of things, and awareness has come, and we share and exchange our views maybe good thing will come from us, and if it is implemented, it will be better for our country. Thank you very
Inshallah.
much.
Thank you. Yes, Brother Muhammad.
Thank you so much for. Thank you, everyone, to giving me this opportunity to talk about my country's current situation and also the human rights to and know about all these things. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and also we will connected. Yeah, that's.
Well, thank you for taking the time and being with us. Thank you very much. Brother Muhammad.
Jazakallah khairan fi darain.
وإياكم.
I'm really happy that though you are far away from us, from Bangladesh, but you are thinking about the Bangladesh. You are concerned about the Bangladesh. Thank you so much. Love you, brother. Love you,
Jazakumullah
everyone.
khair.
Love you, organizer. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I hope this will be continued future. Thank you.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Brother Jahidul, if you want to say any concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and we'll meet another time, another situation, and another topic in different time, and we will keep in touch, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you, a pleasure and an honor. You people are in the middle of the situation. You are the people who are making the change, and I pray to Allah that it will work and that Bangladesh will become the country that we all aspire for it to be, a country that is proud of its citizens and the sacrifices that you've made, in a country that will meet your aspirations. Thank you again. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you to the viewers. And inshallah, we will see everybody again at our next event, inshallah.